Hey guys, this is Gavin with First World Survival, and today I'll be testing out 5 natural fire starters you could find anywhere in the wilderness. My first one I'm going to do is some dry rot log. Usually I use this after I get the flame lit and I use it to feed it. It's the first fuel that goes into the fire, but today I'm going to see if I can light it. I'm also going to be grading these out of 10 on the, ignition scale, how easy they catch a flame. So this first one, little piece of rotten wood, and I'm just gonna crumble it as fine as I can. I'm not sure if this is gonna light. I've never used it for this type of thing, catching the actual flame. So we'll see how it does. But it is great as the first fuel. Like, you light your cotton ball and then you put this on afterwards and it catches really easily. Maybe I'll try making it finer, because I do see some of it charred. That means it can light. I just have to really process it. So now I made it finer, kind of more like, not quite a sawdust, but closer to that than it was. And I think it can light. So I don't know if you could tell, but I did get a piece to light, and I don't know how it did it because I didn't see it until just now. That little black piece is charred, it's burning. And that was actually one of the bigger pieces. So for a natural fire starter, I'd give this a 5 out of 10. It didn't take that long to light, but maybe you guys watching me strike it a bunch of times kind of bored you. So that's why I give it a 5, because in reality it took maybe a couple minutes, but that's not that long. And it does burn for a while, like it's catching on to all of this stuff. So I'd give it a 5. A lot of the other ones might be a little easier, but we'll find out. Now the next thing I'm going to be trying, it's called Shag Bark, and basically it's the inner layer of bark, which is kind of like this, and you rip it apart, roll it around in your hands. The longer you do this, the better it's going to be, the more fine, until you get something along the lines of this, which usually when it's dry it lights really well. I've even lit it when it's wet before. Alright, let's see how this goes. Caught in just a couple strikes. Obviously there's different conditions of this, like the wet stuff is going to take a lot longer to light. You have to throw a lot of sparks at it, and over time it'll dry it out, and then you'll have an easier time lighting it after a bunch of fail. So I'd give this, for natural stuff, a 9 out of 10 on the lighting scale, because it catches really easily. You saw that, took like just a couple strikes. Really recommend this. I think it comes from poplar and hickory, the inner side of the bark. Next, I'm going to be lighting some dead grass or hay. It's very similar. Actually, if you want to know the difference between straw and hay, straw is actually like a straw, like it's hollow on the inside. You could blow through it, breathe through it, and hay is for horses. So I'm going to be lighting this now. I think I've lit it before, and it took a little longer than I'd like to, but it was all in all pretty good. So I'll be showing you. And then obviously I'll get a new estimate for the score based on today. Let's get to it. And it caught pretty easily, and it burns really hot, especially when it's dry. So this is great to get other stuff in your fire to catch. Let's say you have, I don't know, somewhat wet sticks. This will get it to catch. But it burns really hot and really high, so you'll want to be careful with it and make sure it doesn't catch anything you don't want, like your pants. Like my pants caught in fire in that one video where I made a fire in the snow and the rain. Even though they were wet, they still caught, so just be cautious with it. And sand is great for putting out little fires like this too. Now this one I gotta be careful with. I've never used it. I mean, I've used it for a fire, but not to start the fire. It's dead vines and they have little tiny thorns. I have no clue what type of plant this is. Not poison ivy, just in case anyone's wondering if I'm that stupid, which I'm not. So now I'm gonna try lighting this. So if the dead grass, I'd say was like an 8 out of 10, because it caught pretty quickly. This, I'd guess, is a 5 or 6, because I don't know how easily the thick vines are gonna catch. But we'll find out in a second. So I guess this just doesn't want to light. It's pretty dry and stuff too. It'll catch really easily after some flame touches it. But I even use the method of fire where I ruin my knife, but it does make a lot of sparks, and it also wears down this thing a lot. So basically you just go really fast like this, and usually it'll light. This is what I do in emergencies, because why do you need, oh, I did get it to light. I'd say 5 out of 10. Didn't take that long, but enough to bore you guys if you were watching me do it. So I guess you could use it to start a fire if you have to. But if you have the other stuff, why even bother with this? Now this next stuff is some of my favorite. It's bark from a paper birch tree. So it's not the black birch that smells good like root beer or birch beer. It's just regular paper birch. It's usually decorative. You could probably find it anywhere in North America. I don't see why not. And I've never actually lit it directly with the flint and steel, but I know it does burn really hot and it catches really easily after that. So I'll be testing it out. One time a few years ago, I found a bunch of these trees and I collected 2 whole grocery store's bags worth. And that was like after stuffing it in, so probably could have filled 3 or 4. Maybe you could call me obsessed with it instead of crazy, because obsessed might be a little nicer. But yes, I do have a obsession with fire. I guess I'll use this method. It caught a little bit just to smoke. I should probably make it a little more fine, and that'll catch a lot easier. Anything that's finer is going to catch easier than something that's thicker. So you can make something that doesn't work, like paper, and then tear it into tiny shreds, and it'll increase your chance of getting it to catch. And it is doable. I'd also give this a 5 out of 10. Not ideal, there are better things to get to light. Ooh, don't want to burn my tripod. But this does burn really hot and it is lightable. So yeah, 5 out of 10 is probably accurate. But once it catches, it'll get everything else in the fire to catch because it burns hot. It'll heat it up and dry it out more. So after testing all those natural fire starters, I'd give Shag Bark the highest score, a 9 out of 10. For the natural fire starters, I'd probably put it an 8 out of 10 compared to all the cotton balls and all that stuff from my last video. Probably equivalent to dryer lint. But the good thing is you could find this in nature. Dryer lint, you might be able to find a pinch of it in your pocket, but that won't really do much. I even keep some of this in my bag just to bring around everywhere in my survival kit. Even though I can find it in the woods when it's dry, it works just like dryer lint or anything else that's good. Really recommend it. And it comes from a, I think, poplar and hickory tree. So it's pretty common to find, especially east coast of America. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. And go follow my blog, firstworldsurvival.com. Subscribe to that also. You'll get articles from people in the survival community, me and a bunch of other people. We write about bushcraft, survival. I'm gonna have some about homesteading, natural medicine, and anything else outdoors. A lot of fishing too, especially coming up with the weather getting nice. And also, if you fill out the contact form, let me know where you live, what climate that is, and what activities you do outside. I could help you design a survival kit with some gear and some budget advice. So please do that. Thank you so much.